Welcome to Beginner Yoga for Full Body Mobility. My name is Dr. Robin Armstrong. I'm a chiropractor at Willowbrook Chiropractic in Langley. And today I'm going to lead you through a short practice that helps you stretch and open many of the joints of your body. Now we're going to start standing, so a yoga mat is useful so that you don't slip and slide. And then we'll go to the floor. But if you are worried that you won't be able to get up and down off the floor, you can do that part on a bed. I recommend you have a blanket or a folded up towel. We might use that as a prop later. To begin, let's start with our feet hip width apart. And let's lift and spread all our toes and then lay them back down. Feel the big toe mound, the pinky toe mound, and then a point in the middle of the heel. And try and make a triangle with all of those 3 points. Soften your knees a little bit. And then let's play with tilting and tucking the pelvis. So you're going to tilt the pelvis forward, emptying out the bowl, and then tuck it under, making it level again. Do that a few times, tilt and tuck, and then coming back to neutral. So not quite tilted, not quite tucked. From there, grow long through the spine, shrug the shoulders up by the ears, and then let them drop. We can link our breath now. So inhale, exhale, let them drop. And then let's inhale, roll the shoulders onto the back, open the palms, lift the chest up high without arching through the ribs. So still draw the low belly in, get nice and long and tall. Imagine a string pulling up through the top of your head so you're nice and long and light. And then let's start to inhale and exhale through the nose. So we'll inhale and exhale. Nice and slow and soft. From here, let's inhale, raise both arms up overhead. And then exhale, just float the hands down by the sides. Let's do that again. Inhale, arms up, turning the gaze up if it's comfortable for your neck. And then exhale, float your hands back down. Let's do that one more. Inhale, arms up, reach and stretch through the side waist. Exhale, float the hands back down. We're going to do that one more time, but then we're going to hinge at the hips. So we're going to inhale, both arms up, lengthen. Exhale, hands come together through the center. Hinge through the hips, long spine. We're not rounding through the spine. Let your hands come to your thighs or your shins. Let your hang for a moment. And then inhale, grow long through the spine. Reach out through the top of the head, just like we did when we were standing. And then exhale, fold forward again. One more time. Inhale, come up halfway, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, draw the low belly in, root through the feet, those 3 corners, and then rise up. Let's reach the arms up overhead, and then exhale, hands back down to our sides. Come to the front of your mat, feet slightly wider than hip width apart. We're going to step our right foot back behind us so we're up on our toes. So our toes are tucked under. You're going to tuck that pelvis under like we did at the beginning, but then straighten the back leg nice and strong. The front knee is bent, moving towards 90 degrees. From here, let's inhale, both arms up overhead. Exhale, soften the shoulders. Gaze can be straight forward, or you can gaze up, again, as long as it's comfortable in the back of the neck. Breathing in and out here through the nose. Pressing back through that back heel to energize the back leg. Feeling the stretch through the front of the thigh. From here, let's exhale, lower the hands to the waist. We're going to step the back foot on a 45-degree angle. So our hips are still facing towards the front of our mat. We're opening up through the front of the thigh a little bit more and the back of the calf, the side of the shin. We're rooting through the outside of that foot. Again, we can raise the arms up overhead if that's comfortable. Remember, you can always take hands at your waist or at your chest. Breathing here. This is called Warrior One pose in yoga. From here, we'll open from Warrior One to Warrior Two. So we're going to open the arms to a T, we're going to open the hips to the side of our mat, and we're going to open the back foot 90 degrees. You might want to lengthen your stance a little bit longer. And we're reaching out through both ends. So our knee is pointing towards our pinky toe, so we're not letting it drop in towards the big toe, it's more towards the pinky toe, reaching out that way. Our outside of our back foot is rooting to the back of the mat. And then we can soften the shoulders, reach the fingertips away from each other, and turn the gaze to look over the left palm. Breathing here. Feel that opening through the groin, inner thighs, hamstrings. From here, we're going to let the elbow come towards the thigh. If that's not available, you can just place the straight arm against the inner thigh. And then we'll reach the right arm up towards the sky. We can look straight forward or straight up towards the palm. Breathing here, in and out. Maybe reaching overhead and lengthening from the fingertips to the outside of that back foot. And then bring the arms back to a T. Let's straighten the front leg. We'll heel toe the back foot in a little bit to make a narrower stance, but we're going to keep our hips pointing to the side of the mat. We're going to come into triangle pose. So we're really going to hinge through that front hip. Let the left hand come towards the inner thigh or inner shin. Right arm up towards the sky. And almost imagine we're rotating open with the chest. So we're coming into a bit of a twist. It feels like you won't probably make much of a twisting action, but it's going to energetically, we're going to think about twisting open through the upper back. Breathing in and out through the nose. And then exhale, root through the feet, draw the lower belly in, rise up. And then we'll step that back foot in to meet the front foot. Good. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So this time we'll step left foot back behind us, up on the back toes for a crescent lunge, crescent warrior. We're going to tuck the pelvis under so you can feel the opening through the psoas, through the quadriceps. And then when you're ready, if it's comfortable for your shoulders and your neck, your arms raise up overhead. You can look straight forward or up towards the sky, maybe just where the wall meets the ceiling, so a little bit of an elevated gaze, not all the way up. We want to make sure the back of our neck feels light and not pinched. Breathing in and out through the nose. Lowering the hands to the waist for a moment, stepping that back foot out on a 45-degree angle. Hips still face the front of the mat. We're in Warrior One pose now. Root the outside of that back foot. Inhale the arms back up if you like. Breathing here. Front knee tracking towards the pinky toe. Back foot rooted into the mat. Strong and straight back leg. And then let's open up the arms to a T. Open up the hips to the side of the mat and open up that back foot 90 degrees so it's perpendicular to the side of our mat. Parallel to the short end of our mat. Reach both arms out into a T so the fingertips are reaching away from each other, but we're not shrugging our shoulders so they're nice and relaxed. Imagine both hips kind of spiraling out. So we're opening through the groin. Knee is moving towards that pinky toe. And we're gazing over the front fingertips. And we're moving into extended side angle, so we'll bring the front elbow to the thigh, or maybe the hand to the inside of the thigh, reaching the left arm up overhead. Gaze can be straight forward or looking up towards the palm. Always choosing the option that is most comfortable for you, that creates the most ease and lightness in your body. Of course, some of these poses are challenging, but we don't want to feel pain. You can reach the arm overhead if you want, lengthening from the ankle to the wrist. And then let's come back up. Warrior Two, ever so briefly. but then we're going to heel toe or step the back foot in. So we have a narrower stance. We're still facing the side of our mat with our hips, and then we're going to hinge in that front hip, triangle pose. Hand comes to the inside of the thigh or shin, left arm up towards the sky. Breathing here. Easy breaths in and out through the nose. And then root through the feet, rise up, nice and slow and controlled, and then step back to the top of the mat. From here, we'll inhale, both arms up overhead. Exhale, hinge forward. Inhale, lengthen part way, getting long. Exhale, fold forward again. This time, take your hands down to the mat so you can bend your knees. If you need to, place your hands on the mat. We're just going to step back so that we're into all fours, tabletop position. So you can curl your toes under if you like, if you want to stretch the bottom of the feet, or you can have the tops of the feet on the mat, whatever feels good for you. Our hands are spread wide. We're equally distributing the weight throughout our palm. So making sure we're not too much in the thumb side or the pinky side. And then we're going to roll our shoulders onto our back, elongate through the top of the head, elongate through the tail if we're nice and long. From here, we're going to go into some cat-cow, so arching and rounding. So as we inhale, we drop the belly towards the mat, turn the gaze up towards the wall or ceiling, and then exhale, draw that belly button in, round through the low back, the middle back, and then let your head hang. And repeat that. Inhale, arch. Exhale, round. Now this is the time, and hopefully you figured this out already, that we're on the ground. So if you choose to do this on your bed, you totally can. Some positions are going to actually be a bit more challenging. Like this one, you're having to do a bit of balancing, but it's fully available to you if you don't want to be on the ground. Let's do one more. Exhale as you round. Inhale as you arch. And then from here, we're going to uncurl your toes if they're tucked under, and you're going to sit back in child's pose. So the hands reach forward, the hips go back towards the heels. Now, if this is not possible for your knees, if they don't like to do a deep knee bend, you can take what we call a puppy dog pose. So you can keep the knees stacked under the hips and reach more with the arms, or you can take that blanket or towel and stick it behind the knees to give a little bit of a cushion so you're not in as much of a deep knee bend. Similarly, if you're finding like your forehead is too far from the ground, you can use that blanket as a prop for your forehead. From here, let's take away any props. We're going to slide forward onto our stomach. Uncurl your toes so the tops of the feet are pressing into the mat. Energize so that we're actually lifting our knees up off the mat. We're going to place our elbows underneath our shoulders, palms on the mat or the floor. Roll the shoulders onto the back. Let the stomach relax towards the earth. Elongate through the neck so it's reaching away from the shoulders. We're not scrunching up. And breathing here for a few breaths. If you're feeling some pinching in your low back, then maybe slide your elbows a little bit further forward so you're not in as much of a back bend. And then we'll slowly release. Let your forehead rest on the ground for a moment. And then we'll reach both arms out in front of us. And then we're going to lift opposite arm, opposite leg, just hovering above the ground and then lowering down. And you can keep your forehead on the ground, or you can just lift your head slightly up off the mat for a little bit of a neck strengthener. So opposite arm, opposite leg, lower down. Again, left arm, right leg, Right arm, left leg. Just holding for a few seconds before you lower. Let's do one more on each side. This is a great way to strengthen the back. Good. From here, let's find our way back to all fours for a moment. And then turning around so that we're sitting with our legs spread out in front of us. Now, for some of us with tight hamstrings, we can use our blanket or our towel again. And we're just going to use that to sit on. So we're sitting so that we're on the edge of it and we can tilt our pelvis off the edge of our blanket. You might need to fold it even more for some people. We want to make sure we're not sagging through the low back, so we're nice and long and tall. Let's flex the toes up towards us. Nice strong legs, almost like we're standing on the ground. So let's spread those toes again. It's a tricky thing for me to do. There's not much spread happening, but we can still practice or imagine. It does actually help to spread your fingers at the same time. We're long through the spine. The shoulders are down the back. And the chin is tucked ever so slightly, so not dropped, but just tucked so that the back of the skull is elongated. And then we imagine that string again, pulling our head up towards the sky. So now we had our foundational posture when we were standing, now we have it when we're sitting. And it actually takes a little bit of work. From here, let's do some wrist circles, and at the same time you can do some ankle circles. Going in one direction and then the other. And then from here, let's bring our palms together and then slowly lower the hands down towards the stomach. So try not to tilt them one way or the other. Just keep the heels of the hands pressing together, and we should feel a stretch through the forearms a little bit. And then you're going to do the opposite. So raise them back up, bring the backs of the hands together. This is a little bit of a foreign feeling. And then slowly lower the hands till we feel a stretch to the back of the wrist and the back of the forearm. And then let's slowly release. Let's keep our left leg straight, but we'll bend our right knee. And let's hug our knee in so we're sitting up tall. Now, if it's available to you, let's bring your leg a little bit towards midline, your foot more towards midline, or maybe even crossing over the opposite leg. And then hug the leg until we feel a nice little stretch through the glute and the outside of the thigh. And that can still be done with the foot on the inside of the leg if it's not available to you. From here, let's lean our right hand back behind us. Left arm reaches up, and then exhale, you're going to twist open. So either bringing the elbow to the outside of the thigh or just hugging the thigh as we turn and look over our right shoulder. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the nose. And then coming back through center, let's uncross the legs, straighten them back out, take a moment. Get that foundational posture. Then we'll hug the left knee in. Maybe bring it more towards the midline or crossing over. Hug the thigh in, sit up tall. Let's reach the left arm behind us. You can lean back. Right arm reaches up. We've created some space. Now we're going to twist into that space, either with the elbow on the outside of the thigh or just hugging the thigh, looking over the left shoulder. And then coming back through center. Let's take away our blanket or towel. And then we'll come to lying on the ground. Let's bend both knees so the feet are flat on the floor. And then we're going to cross our right ankle above our left knee. And then you're going to lift the left leg up off the floor. If it's available to you, pull the leg towards you while keeping the head and shoulders on the floor or the bed. Imagine that right hip opening out to the side. We're creating this number 4 position, stretching the hips, the glutes. And then releasing the thigh, lower the foot to the floor, uncross the legs. Let's cross the left ankle above the right knee. Let that hip open out to the side. Lift the right foot up off the ground. Pull the thigh towards you if that's available while keeping the head and shoulders on the floor. Imagine that hip opening out, spiraling out to the side. And continuing our breathing in and out through the nose. And then slowly letting the foot float down to the floor, uncross the legs. Keeping the knees bent, feet flat on the floor, slide your heels up as close as you can to your hips. And imagine standing feet, big toe mound, pinky toe mound, rooting into the ground, center of the heel rooting into the ground. Imagine that you're holding something between your thighs, but they're not touching, but you're holding an imaginary object. So we have energized legs. Palms can stay flat on the mat, and then we're going to lift the hips up off the floor, keeping the head and upper back on the mat. So we're coming into bridge pose. So this is a nice stretch for the front of the thighs, but it's also a strengthener for the glutes, which is important for back health. Keep holding. You can lower if it's becoming too much. Try to be nice and controlled with your breathing. And then slowly lower down. Good. So we're going to grab our blanket again. This time we're going to position it so it's under our knees with our legs extended. This just takes some of the tension out of the low back when we're lying flat. If it's too uncomfortable for you to be lying without a pillow, you can get a small pillow or even just a shirt just to give your head some cushioning and a bit of height. Let's open the palms. Let the chest be open and relaxed. Let's take a big breath in through the nose, out through the mouth with a sigh. Let's take a big breath into the nose, and then another deeper breath. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, nice long deep breath. See if you can get a little more. And then we'll just rest here with our eyes closed for a few moments. Letting go of that controlled way of breathing, just breathing naturally. Letting yourself be present for a few more moments before we rush off to our next activity. And just letting your body be fully relaxed and held by the floor or the mattress. And thanking yourself for taking the time for yourself to move and lengthen and strengthen your body. And you can feel free to stay a little bit longer here. Or if you're ready, you can bend both knees so your feet are flat on the floor. Raise your right arm overhead, making a pillow for your head as we roll to our right side. And then moving slowly, taking your time as you come back up to sitting. Thank you for joining me for this beginner yoga practice for full body mobility. My name is Dr. Robin Armstrong. If you have any questions about anything that I've done here today, please feel free to ask me. I'm always happy to help.